All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Monday Night Football week number 6 between the Jets and the Bills. In today's video, we're going to dive into this game. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. That is where all of my final plays, if you want to ride with me or if you want to fade me, all of those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. So make sure to keep an eye on that. Before we do dive into this one, guys, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. You guys have been absolutely crushing it. The fact that I can say out loud that we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers is mind-blowing to me, and I appreciate every single one of the new subscribers and stuff that we've gotten over the football season so far. So appreciate the hell out of you guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and like I always say, there's tons of people in the comments that are a heck of a lot smarter and better at this than me, so make sure to show some love to people in the comments dropping their plays, and drop your plays as well. But let's dive into this game, guys. We got the Jets as 2.5-point dogs, total sitting at 41. Neither team really in the best of situations right now. We're coming into this game after the best of situations. You have the Bills have lost 2 straight, that really bad one against Baltimore, and then they lose a tight one against Houston. Houston kind of dominated earlier, and then the Bills made a push for late in the game, but didn't push hard enough, obviously. And then you have the Jets, who even knows what type of turmoil they're in, right? Is it good? Is it bad? Blah, blah, blah. They have that messy loss with a missed field goal to Denver a couple weeks ago, and then they play in London last week and lose what kind of by the box score looks like a close one to Minnesota, but if you watch that game, Aaron Rodgers was throwing left-handed pretty much based on his numbers, so I don't think that was close either. Neither one of these teams firing on all cylinders, and there are a few major injuries to note for both sides here. So we have Aaron Rodgers, Tyler Conklin, CJ Mosley, all guys that we want to keep an eye on, that big Q next to their name in terms of questionable. I think we've seen that Aaron Rodgers is going to play, but still listed as questionable right now. And then on the Buffalo side of things, I think the biggest one I want to note would be James Cook. He's questionable, but we also see, I believe, Curtis Samuel, Shakir. We have Mac Hollins questionable. Like, almost this entire offense seems to be questionable, but James Cook, we'll talk about it in just a second, gonna be the biggest question mark for me here. So let's go ahead and dive into this game, guys. Like I said, Jets 2.5-point dogs, total 41. We'll kind of go through each team and quickly say where I think the advantages are for those teams, and then I'll give you my spread pick, my total pick, and then I have a few player props, or at least player prop spots that I'm considering as of right now. So let's start with the Bills here. The Bills have had the more consistent offense all year long, 3rd in terms of points per game here. Offensively, from a DVOA perspective, they're 8th overall, 3rd in pass, middle of the pack in run, actually a little bit ahead of it, 14th in run. And I do think that that's an advantage given the fact that the Jets, 1, have been very inconsistent offensively, and then 2, though they do have some good rushing numbers and cases to be made that they are a good rush defense, I think that they've been specializing in the pass defense, especially from a DVOA perspective, 7th in terms of pass defense, 24th, which is a little shocking based on some other numbers, but 24th in terms of rush DVOA, which isn't all that great. So I would say the Bills' offense is their advantage in this one, but I already mentioned it, James Cook could be out of this game, and this Bills offense, I hate to say it, but maybe not all that great without James Cook. They're running at I want to say like a top 5, maybe it's like 6th or 5th highest frequency this year. Obviously getting a decent amount of rushing yards per game because they're rushing so much. And like I mentioned, this is a Jets defense that's getting better and better and better against the run, but still, you know, they specialize in pass defense and making it tough on quarterbacks. So if James Cook is not in this game, it might say kaput to the Bills' advantage, which I believe is having the more consistent offense. Obviously Josh Allen is a talent, but even if you want to say, well, no, he can pass all over it, to who? You could have said to who, even if his wide receivers were healthy. Shakir, Samuel, Coleman, Mac Hollins, like, even those guys aren't studs, and they're questionable. So I do think that the Bills, like I've said a bunch of times, I don't want to sound like a broken record, have an offensive advantage if James Cook plays. On the Jets side of things, I would say that, you know, Aaron Rodgers may actually have a decent game here. Now, before we get into him, I think we have to address the fact that Robert Saleh, head coach, has been fired, and I think that does a lot for a team. I even tried to dig as much as I could, so take these numbers with a grain of salt, but in terms of, you know, teams after their coach gets fired, how they perform, since 2011, they're 10-7 the week after the coach gets fired straight up. And then in the 2000s, so we have 20 plus years of data here. Their win rate, so this is for the rest of the season, was a 27% clip on average with their head coaches. Once their head coach gets fired, for the rest of the season, 39% win rate. So still a struggling team, but it jumps 12 points. You know what I mean? So there are some facts and some numbers that support the idea of maybe them stepping up after their head coach gets fired. But to me, it's more of like a feel, like they have a new thing to play for. They can galvanize, they can rally around it. So I think that that's actually a sort of point and an advantage knock, or advantage little notch on the belt for the Jets. And then, like I mentioned, Aaron Rodgers. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers has a good game here. Looking at the splits, looks like Buffalo's been playing a decent amount of zone, more zone than man. Aaron Rodgers has had an up and down season, right? In fact, he only has one standout good game against New England. I think that was Thursday night, right? A couple weeks ago, week 3. And coincidentally, that's also, I guess, funny enough, the game in which he pushed Robert Saleh when he tried to hug him after a touchdown, right? But in that game, the Patriots played a lot of zone, and they're playing a lot of zone, and Aaron Rodgers cut it up. He looked very, very comfortable. If we see a defense in Buffalo who is a lot better than that Patriots defense, but play a lot of zone, Aaron Rodgers in prime time should be skillful enough to be able to find those openings, find those soft spots, and then have himself a decent game. So I think Aaron Rodgers and the head coach being fired are two decent advantages for the Jets. Now, in terms of, I guess, a spread play here, it may be crazy after the coach gets fired, but I'm actually going to lean towards the Jets plus the points. If I were to roll with this myself, I'm probably telling you that I'm most likely going to be buying a point. I would love to get this at plus 3.5 instead of the 2.5. Like, if you're going 2.5, you might as well, at least in my opinion, might as well just look at the Jets on the money line for plus 120. But if you can get this to 3.5, I think there could be some value at that key number. So I'll lean towards the Jets here plus the 3.5 points. There's so many question marks literally on the injury report for the Bills and what their offense would look like if it was Josh Allen and then just a bunch of backup guys. So I just can't really seem to fully trust it. In this Jets team, fired their coach is pretty rock bottom, right? Even though I don't know, I posted a video on it kind of giving my take on if they should have or shouldn't have fired him. But overall, it's like you really have nowhere to go but up after firing your coach. And maybe they're just giving Aaron Rodgers the key to the kingdom, and he's going to be a little bit more comfortable. So give me the Jets plus the 3.5 points. Do I love it? Not really. If James Cook is out, I do start to love it a little bit more. Now, in terms of the total, I'll also lean towards the under in this spot. Again, I think that this Jets team is going to try and keep the ball away from Josh Allen and definitely if James Cook plays. And say James Cook does play, right? When they do get the ball, I think they're going to run it a lot, which is going to chew a lot of clock. And you have two good defenses in this spot, so and two very good quarterbacks. So I think that the sort of game management isn't going to be high flying. It's going to be sort of, I guess I would say, more dink and dunk and controlling possession, which usually leads towards an under, and we see that as a 41 total right now with Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. I think the books know this could be a low-scoring game as well, so we'll lean in that direction. Now, guys, before we do get into player props, I kind of want to shout out something that we have in the pinned comment. So if you are unaware, I'm always telling you guys to get the most amount of sports books possible. You can get their bonuses, you can odd shop, you can get the best lines out there, and we have a link now in the pinned comment that all you have to do is select your state, and it's going to give you all of the sports books that are available in your area, and you'll get the best deposit and first-time sign-up bonuses. For example, FanDuel, bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Wink, wink, nod, nod. I'd go in there and just take a heavy favorite and get that $300 in bonus bets. DraftKings, bet $5, get $200 instantly. So go check it out, guys. We have all of those linked in the pinned comment. It's just one link. You're going to be able to pick your state. I'm in Mass right now, and it'll pop up the best deals available. As always, when checking these things out, you got to be 21 plus. And again, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, of course. But let's go ahead and jump into a few player prop spots that I'm looking at here. Now, I mentioned he could be a little bit banged up, but I think one spot that I'm looking at is actually going to be Tyler Conklin. Now, I don't have his receptions line just yet, but what I will say is that Tyler Conklin has been cashing for us. I think it's like 2 weeks in a row, right, in terms of him having his receptions. Yes, last week we had to pay like minus 140. It was definitely a juicy play, but I still like it. His targets are going up and up and up. 6, 8, and 9. And this is a Buffalo team that's allowing the sixth most passes per game to the tight end position. I'm not infatuated or in love with his yards. I don't hate it at 33.5, but even this spot, you could see he had, I believe it was four catches, only 17 yards in Denver. Like, he's not always going to get these big chunk plays, but Buffalo allowing like the 17th most yards, but 6th most in terms of passes to the tight end. So there could be more quantity than quality coming his way. Also, Buffalo's been very good at shutting down wide receiver ones this year. We've seen Zay Flowers, Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr. week 1 kind of struggle, right? So I don't mind taking a peek at the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, either Allen Lazard or Mike Williams for this New York Jets team. Again, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be pretty damn comfortable there, and though we're still waiting on some lines for both of these guys, I could be convinced of their receptions or their yards, or, you know, I guess even to score a touchdown. I think we saw that with Mike Williams for plus 370, and then Lazard's touchdowns plus 250. He has, a couple touchdowns on the season, 4 to be exact, so that could be a look as well. And now if we flip over to, I guess, the Buffalo side of things. So again, Jets, I'm looking at Conklin receptions, and then Allen Lazard and Mike Williams. Not really touching Breece Hall or even Allen. Like, I don't think that this is a special run game for New York, so kind of sticking away from those. Don't hate them, just don't love them. But on the Buffalo side of things, Josh Allen, I don't think is going to have the easiest time passing the ball, but running the ball, especially if he doesn't have many guys to go to or James Cook is out, I don't mind him rushing for over 36.5 yards. I think we saw, Will Levis had nearly 40 yards on the ground against New York. So definitely a possibility that Josh Allen, a better runner, could go up there and get nearly 40, right? And also, rushing for a touchdown, plus 132 in week number 1, hasn't done anything since. And if they don't have James Cook, you can scroll down and look at their red zone rush attempts, right? Red zone rush attempts, James Cook, 46% of them. Well, look at who's really the only guy even close to that, and not so much close, but 28.6, almost 29% of their red zone attempts this year have been Josh Allen. So I don't mind him for his yards or his over in touchdowns. He hasn't had one in a while. The dude is due. I don't think the Jets have even allowed, they haven't even allowed one rushing touchdown to a quarterback yet, but they also haven't played Josh Allen. And then one spot, now I'd want to know what, see if we can refresh the outlier tool. By the way, guys, this is Outlier. If you don't know what Outlier is, I talk about it in a lot of videos. My favorite player prop research tool. I have a link for a 7-day free trial in the pinned comment. It's also in the description, but it's great. You can go through and look at all of the props available. You can even set certain filters. If you want to look at only unders, you only want to look at, I guess we could say, longest rush, that type of thing. All of these, you can see their last 5, last 10 head-to-head. You can click in and sort of see the breakdown and trend of last 5, last 10, 2024, 2023, all that good stuff, right? So go check it out. Link in the pinned comment and in the description, 7 days free. But James Cook being out, I could see a little action from Ray Davis, who is built kind of like a little bowling ball, right? And hasn't had the best of, anything so far. He did have a touchdown in week 3, but I could see this being where some of the carries go. Like, yes, I understand that Ty Johnson's there and whatnot, but Ray Davis could be the spot in which we look at now. Plus 190, I wish that this was like plus 200, but overall, I still think that he could get some goal line carries if they get there over Ty Johnson. So there's a consideration. I don't know what his attempts or his yards are yet. We don't have those lines, but for a touchdown, not necessarily something that I am hating. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for the plays for today's video. Like I keep telling you guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment. That's where all of my final plays. If you do want to, go ahead and fade me. All those plays are listed in the pinned comment. To recap here, I like the Jets, but I'd probably buy a point, get to plus 3.5. Don't mind the under, and then some player prop spots I'm looking at. Conklin receptions, Lazard and Williams, both their receiving yards, Josh Allen rushing yards, maybe even a rushing touchdown, and then Ray Davis rushing yards, attempts, or touchdown, depending on the lines we get. So very important to keep an eye on the pinned comment. I'll be away this weekend, so we're recording this video a little bit early, but just wanted to let you guys know that that's kind of what we're looking at as of right now. But yeah, comment 13 if you guys made it this far into the video. I do appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, road to 100,000 subscribers is mind-blowing to me. The fact that we're there is absolutely crazy. Like, we're knocking on the door right now, and hopefully someone lets us in someday, right? But I'll catch you guys in the next one. That's all I got for you. Peace out.